Valentine's Day, often wrapped in the softness of roses and whispered affections, has a history far older and darker than the commercialized romance it represents today. Its roots stretch deep into the pagan past, where mid-February was a time of ancient fertility rites, primal rituals and blood offerings. The Romans celebrated Lupercalia, a chaotic and frenzied festival in which priests, known as the Luperci, would sacrifice goats and dogs, smearing their blood onto the foreheads of young men who would then strip the hides and run through the streets, striking women to bestow fertility upon them. It was a time when love was not a tender emotion, but a force bound to blood, fate, and the will of the gods. In this primal backdrop, the story of Saint Valentine emerged, not as a simple symbol of love, but as a defiant figure whose actions, whether noble or reckless, led him to a brutal end. There are multiple figures in early Christian history who bore the name Valentine, but the most famous is said to have been a priest or bishop in 3rd century Rome, living under the rule of Emperor Claudius II. At the time, the Roman Empire was engaged in constant military campaigns, and Claudius, believing that unmarried soldiers made better warriors, forbade men of fighting age from marrying. Whether it was an act of rebellion, religious conviction, or a deeper understanding of love's mysticism, Valentine ignored this decree and began performing secret wedding ceremonies for those who sought to defy the empire's rule. He may have believed that love was divine, a sacred force that transcended the laws of men, but such defiance could not go unanswered. He was arrested and dragged before the Roman authorities, accused of disobeying imperial law, spreading Christianity, and corrupting the state's control over its people. He was imprisoned, tortured, and ultimately condemned to die. On February 14, 269 AD, he was led to his execution. Some say he was beaten and stoned before finally being beheaded, a symbolic severing of the head, the seat of reason, from the body, a fate reserved for those who defied Roman power. Blood pooled onto the cold stone and his body was discarded like that of a criminal rather than a saint. Yet his execution did not erase his influence. Within a few centuries, Christianity would rise as the dominant faith of Rome, and the martyr Valentine would become a symbol of love's triumph over oppression. But his transformation was not immediate. It was Pope Gelasius I in 496 AD who declared February 14th as Saint Valentine's feast day, officially marking his place in Christian tradition. This was not merely an act of reverence, it was also a strategic move as the Church sought to Christianize Lupercalia, shifting the focus from pagan fertility rites to a narrative of spiritual love and devotion. But even in sainthood, Valentine's presence was not entirely pure. His relics, his bones, his skull adorned with flowers, and his fragmented remains are scattered across multiple locations. The most famous of these relics is kept in Santa Maria in Cosmed in Rome, where his skull is enshrined in a golden reliquary, displayed behind glass, crowned with delicate blossoms that starkly contrast the grim reminder of death beneath. Other parts of his body are said to be held in Whitefriar Street Church in Dublin, as well as in France, Poland, and England. The scattering of his remains raises eerie questions. Why have his bones been divided and spread across the world? In many esoteric traditions, a body fragmented in death suggests a soul that is never at peace, bound to the earthly realm by the dispersal of its mortal remains. It is said that relics carry energy, that objects infused with a saint's essence can bring blessings or curses, depending on how they are venerated. Could it be that Saint Valentine's bones still hold power, drawing in the hopes and sorrows of lovers, binding them together or tearing them apart? His legacy, too, has shifted and transformed through the ages. By the Middle Ages, romantic love as we know it began to take shape, influenced by the poetry of Geoffrey Chaucer, who associated Valentine's Day with the pairing of birds and lovers. Courtly love, an idealized form of romantic devotion, became intertwined with the saint's legacy, turning him from a martyr into a patron of love and affection. During the Victorian era, the tradition of exchanging letters and tokens of love flourished, and mass-produced Valentine's Day cards became common, cementing the holiday's commercial appeal. But this transformation from a day of blood and rebellion to a celebration of sweethearts and chocolates did not erase its darker echoes. There are those who believe that love itself is a kind of magic, a force both creative and destructive, and that Valentine, whether saint or sorcerer, understood its depths in ways we may never comprehend. Love has long been a subject of esoteric and occult study, with ancient practices using talismans, sigils, and spells to bind hearts together or sever them forever. The idea that love is an enchantment, a thing of fate and power, aligns with the story of a man who performed forbidden marriages in secret, risking death to unite souls. But what if Valentine was not merely a benevolent priest, but something more? A figure who, knowingly or unknowingly, tampered with forces beyond his control. If love is an energy that lingers beyond death, could it be that his spirit still walks the earth, entwined with the fate of those who invoke his name? Today, we celebrate Valentine's Day with flowers, chocolates, and candlelit dinners, often unaware of the blood-stained history behind it. But in every whispered confession, in every love letter written on this day, there may be an unseen hand guiding the fate of lovers, a force older than history, older than Rome itself. Valentine's Day is not just about love, it is about defiance, sacrifice, and the thin veil that separates devotion from obsession. Whether Saint Valentine was a true martyr or something far more enigmatic, his presence lingers in every heart that beats with longing, every name signed on a love letter, and every silent prayer whispered in the name of love.
They're gonna be sorry they were ever born.
Who?
All of them.
What you gonna say to me now? Ace with the crown. I straight to the ground, cause I miss my life aiming straight for the crown. The higher the climb is the greater the fall. Stiffer the drink is the deeper you sleep. And the more you put in is the more you withdraw. And the more things blur is the clearer I dream. Eye on me like the words of a saint. And nothing kill quicker than the burden of hate. The circle of time is the curve of your faith. It's pretty abstract but I fuck with the shape. Loch Ness monster horns in a cape. Flames of fury in the devil's face. And once you've conquered all that credulous race, the world ends cause you were forming its lake. Going safe and sound. Fox in the hell. What you gonna say to me now? Ace with the crown. I straight to the ground cause I missed my life aiming straight for the crown. I was in a hurry, skip the journey, let life slip by. Aiming straight for the crown. I was in a hurry, skip the journey, let life slip by. Swing low like a gold-plated crucifix. Holy heart, hang Christ on a